Mananti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayed Nashtaprayesha Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. Text number 57. Kirtimantam Prathamajam Kirtimantam Prathamajam Kamsaya Anakadundubhihi Kamsayanakadundubhihi Arpayam Asa Krichrena Arpayamasa Krichrena Saha Anrutat Ativikvalaha Sonrutadati Vihvalaha Kirtimantam Prathamajam Kamsayanakadundubhihi. Arpayamasa Krichrena Sonrutadati Vihvalaha. 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 Kirtimantam, by the name Kirtiman, Prathamajam, the firstborn baby, Kamsaya, unto Kamsa, Anakadundubihi, Vasudeva. This is another name for Vasudeva, Anakadundubihi. Arpayamasa, delivered, Krichrena, with great pain, Saha, he, Vasudeva, Anrutat, from the breaking of the promise, or from fear of being a liar. Ativikvalaha was very much disturbed, being afraid. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son, named Kirtiman, into the hands of Kamsa. Please repeat this translation after me. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son, named Kirtiman, into the hands of Kamsa. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the Vedic system, as soon as a child is born, especially a male child, the father calls for learned brahmanas, and according to the description of the child's horoscope, the child is immediately given a name. This ceremony is called Namakarana. There are 10 different samskaras or reformatory methods adopted in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, and the name giving ceremony is one of them. Although Vasudeva's first son was to be delivered into the hands of Kamsa, the Namakarana ceremony was performed, and thus the child was named Kirtiman. Such names are given immediately after birth. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachar Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatar Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare. So the previous verse described that each year after Kamsa agreed to not kill Devaki, and Vasudeva went to his palace. Then each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki, the mother of God and all the demigods, gave birth to a child. Thus she bore 8 sons, one after another, and a daughter named Subhadra. Shukadeva Goswami is summarizing the different details where details are to be narrated for the sake of glorifying the Supreme Lord or for the sake of explaining the Bhagavata philosophy. There he will describe very elaborately. And where there is no need for describing details, there he will summarize so concisely. Just like this verse, this previous verse, not today's verse, the previous 56th verse. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki, the mother of God and all the demigods, gave birth to a child. Finished. So many details are there. So even though this kind of literature is called history, Purana or Itihasa, 2 kinds of historical scriptures. The historical incidents are particularly selected and described or recorded only with reference to glorification of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees. Only with reference to bhakti. That is a special thing about these historical narrations. Sometimes people think so many details are not there, or some details are given but not exactly connected with each other in a chronological order or in a logical fashion. So, the purpose of this historical narration, is not to merely document historical incidents, but to actually give us literature by studying which or hearing which we will become Krishna conscious. That is the purpose. So, immediately after summarizing this, Devaki gave birth to 8 sons and 1 daughter. Now, the description about the first child. Now, why? Because this is very, very significant. What happened when the first child was born? So, the verse says, Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Anaka Dundubihi, which is another name for Vasudeva, Arpayamasa Krichrena so Amritad Ati Vikvalaha. Being afraid, Ati Vikvalaha, of breaking his promise and thus becoming a liar, Vasudeva, he, as soon as the child was born, he handed over the child, the firstborn son, to the hands of Kamsa. Arpayamasa Krichrena, with great pain. Because he knows what Kamsa is going to do. Kamsa is going to kill the child. But it is also mentioned the name of the child, Kirtiman. Kirtimantam means by the name of Kirtiman. That's the Sanskrit grammar. So, how is it possible that the child is born and he is immediately handing over the child to uh, Kamsa to keep up his promise? So, Prabhupada explains in the purport, in the Vedic system, as soon as a child is born, especially a male child, the father calls for learned brahmanas, and according to the description of the child's horoscope, the child is immediately given a name. So, this is a Vedic system. In a civilized society, there is something called samskara. And Prabhupada describes that as reformatory method. The Hitopadesha says there are 4 common activities for animals as well as humans: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But human being is distinguished from animals in that there is a 5th activity which is called dharma, following religious principles. So, part of this dharma, following religious principles, is to perform samskara. And as Prabhupada says here, there are 10 different samskaras. Now, the number 10 is given here as the minimum number of samskaras to be performed. Actually, there are more. Somewhere it is said there are 16 samskaras. Somewhere else it is said there are more than 16 samskaras. These are all given in different other scriptures called Dharma Shastras. Dharma Shastra. To follow Dharma, what are the different procedures? What are the different details of practicing or following Dharma? So minimum is 10 samskaras. And out of those 10 samskaras, 2 are mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. The father calls for learned brahmanas, and according to the child's horoscope, the child is given immediately a name. So there is a ceremony called Jata Karma, that is preparing the horoscope of the child. Now, this preparing the horoscope is very important because this Namakarana, giving a name for the child, it is based on the description of the child in the child's horoscope. So horoscope has to be prepared. How is horoscope prepared? By learned astrologer according to the exact time and place of the child being born. Time and place. Basically, the horoscope indicates the positions of 9 different planets as seen from the place at the time of birth of the child. Now, this is the correlation between the astronomical details of the planetary positions, because the planets are moving, continuously moving in the sky. No planet is stationary. All the planets are moving, including the sun. All planets are moving, moon, all the planets, Earth planet, all the planets are moving. And the relative position at a given time, the time of the birth of the particular child, and the relative position as seen from the place of birth of the child. Now, this cannot be exactly done by seeing, looking into the sky. That's not the way it's done. It is actually done by calculation. It's a great science. This calculation is given in the science called astrology. Astrology is Jyotishya or Jyotirveda. So this is not some quackery, as some people think. There used to be one mathematics professor in one engineering college. and he used to contribute articles to the Star of Mysore when I just came new to Mysore. Now I don't see him. Maybe he's not writing anymore articles. Should have become very old. And he was known to be not only learned in mathematics, but also learned in astronomy. And he used to write different articles on mathematics and as well as on astronomy, because both were his uh, expertise. And once in one talk he gave about astronomy, he said, I don't believe in this astrology. It is all bogus. It's not a science. That's a statement he made. That's why when we don't learn the subject matter from a bona fide spiritual master coming in parampara, then we foolishly make all such statements. Astrology is not a science. Astrology is a perfect science, because the horoscope of the child, based on which the predictions can be made about the future of the child, or the salient characteristics of the child's personality, these are based on actual calculations, scientific calculations, and very exact calculations. These are based on exact calculations. And these calculations are all given in the scriptures, Jyotirveda. And even among those who study properly this Jyotirveda, there is specialization. Some of the Brahmanas, they specialize in preparing this calendar, Panchanga, the Vedic calendar, because that also involves calculations. Some specialize in preparing this horoscope and making predictions. And some others, they specialize in preparing this, reading the horoscope and giving an auspicious date or auspicious time for doing different activities. So 3 different specializations are there. Because I was trying to consult some astrologers to know something more about this calendar, Vedic calendar. So I met one astrologer. He said, I am not specialized in calendar, so I can't tell you details. Some basic things I know, but I can't tell you details. I was trying to ask him, why is it that some people observe Ekadashi on one particular day and somebody else observes on another day? What's the basis for that? And both of them have got a solid basis. It's not simply some speculation. So he was telling it is actually a very, very complicated calculation that one has to learn how to do that. From a proper expert, one has to learn this. And I have not learned that branch of calendar calculations. I do Lagna. Lagna means the auspicious moment for doing some particular, actually doing pious activities. Uh, so just like fixing the date and time for marriage ceremony, uh, fixing a date and time for entering a new home, like that. Different or for performing this Upanayana samskara, date and time, like that. Different things. They do calculation and tell based on the horoscope of the child. Now, preparing horoscope itself is a science. It's one branch of this astrology. So, Vasudeva knew very well that to keep up his promise, he has to hand over the child to Kamsa. But still, as his duty, he immediately called for a learned Brahmana and immediately asked him to prepare the horoscope as soon as the child was born. And according to the horoscope, the child was given a name, Kirtiman. The name is a meaningful name. Meaningful name. Just like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. So Neelambara Chakravarti happened to be Shachi Devi's father. That is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's maternal grandfather. He was a very learned astrologer. So he prepared the horoscope and gave the name Vishwambhara to the child. Now, how is it he gave the name Vishwambhara and what does it mean? It means this child actually is a maintainer of everyone in the whole creation. Because this child is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was appeared as the son of Jagannath Mishra and Chachi Devi. And how did he ascertain that? By the horoscope. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the great author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, has given what is the horoscope of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And anyone can study that horoscope. And of course, you have to study it under the guidance of an expert. And I learned from another learned astrologer that all horoscopes of anyone except the Supreme Lord who incarnates or appears in this world as the son of his devotee, all horoscopes have got some defect or inauspiciousness in the horoscope. Only the horoscope of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything 100% auspicious. This is one of the differences in the horoscope. Then, the horoscope of a pure devotee, is also different from the horoscope of others who are not pure devotees. See, pure devotees don't take birth by force of karma. So, in their horoscope also, there will be certain auspicious signs which will indicate this personality is a great personality. And there is also described in the case of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's horoscope. When he was born, a learned astrologer studied the horoscope and observed 32 symptoms of a very great personality. And that is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, in the case of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These 32 symptoms of a great personality were there when the child was born. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, he is the Supreme Lord, but he is appearing as a devotee, as a pure devotee. So because he appeared as a pure devotee, all the 32 symptoms of a great personality who is actually a pure devotee taking birth in this world for the mission of the Lord, not by force of karma. So all those 32 symptoms were there in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's horoscope. They were also observed in the horoscope of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And they are described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nyagrodha Parimandala. These 32 symptoms are called, they have given a technical name in astrology. Nyagrodha Parimandala. So it's a complete science. Why I am saying all this is to help you appreciate this. Astrology is a perfect science. And even Prabhupada says in the Krishna book, at the time of Krishna's appearance, all the planets were in the most auspicious position. All the planets. And Krishna appeared. And therefore, the symptoms of auspiciousness were to be seen everywhere throughout the whole world. All symptoms of auspiciousness were there. And that's also described in the Krishna book, in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam by Shukadeva Goswami. In the 3rd chapter, that will be there in this 10th canto. So it's a complete science, and definitely a learned astrologer can distinguish a real incarnation apart from ordinary persons taking birth. So there is no scope for some bogus incarnation to be declared as some avatar and cheat people. No, there is no scope like that. If somebody claims so-and-so is an avatar, immediately we should ask that person, what about his horoscope? Does it have? It's called the horoscope of one kind, which is the horoscope of the Supreme Lord incarnating in this material world. It's called Narayana Jataka. What's it called? Narayana Jataka. So whenever the Lord appears in any incarnation, when he personally incarnates, then this Narayana Jataka can be actually ascertained that here is an incarnation. So, Vasudeva had this learned Brahmanas perform this Namakarana Samskara, name-giving ceremony, and that requires that horoscope has to be prepared. Only then the name can be given, a meaningful name can be given based on the characteristics. And later on the description will be given that the first 6 sons born of Vasudeva and Devaki, they were actually some personalities in the heavenly planets who were cursed to take birth on the earth. And therefore, to finish off that curse of taking birth on the earth and undergoing this human life, because for them it is a fall down. For somebody in the heavenly planets to take birth on the earth is a fall down under the laws of karma. So in order to quickly finish off, as soon as they were born, actually they were killed by Kamsa. As soon as they were born, they were killed. So how is this ascertained that their killing was for their good? It is by the horoscope. It is by the horoscope, because horoscope tells what is their antecedents, what is their background of the past. Why is it that they were killed immediately after birth? A learned astrologer can tell that. So it is ascertained that these 6 personalities, they were actually cursed to take birth, and to finish off that curse quickly, immediately they were killed. And what happened after they were killed? They went back to their position in the heavenly planets. Finished, over. Their curse is finished. It is just like Jaya and Vijaya, when they were cursed by the Brahmanas, then they requested, may we quickly come back, finishing that curse, back to Vaikuntha. Because they had choice. Either they take birth as devotees for 7 lifetimes and then come back to their position as Dwarapalakas in Vaikuntha, or 3 births as demons. Naturally, devotees want to take birth as demons. They want to take birth as devotees. But still they chose to take birth as demons. Why? Because they want to finish off that curse as quickly as possible. So therefore they chose that. And further, the Lord's blessing on them, that I will personally deliver you. Anyway, after taking birth in this material world, somebody has to die. Jatasyahi dhruvo mrityuhu. But not simply some ordinary death, personally killed. So Lord's killing is not killing. Lord's killing is deliverance, purification, liberation. So they were personally delivered by the Lord Himself. Why? Because they are His devotees. They are His devotees. Therefore, this Leela, it's actually a Leela of the Lord. Them appearing as demons and being cursed by the Kumaras, it's actually Leela of the Lord. So anyway, that apart, this point that the name-giving ceremony is done based on the preparation of the horoscope, because only then a meaningful, suitable name can be given for the child. So therefore it is said here that although Vasudeva's first son was to be delivered into the hands of Kamsa, the Namakarana ceremony was performed, and thus the child was named Kirtiman. Such names are given immediately after birth. Why are they given immediately after birth? Another reason is the child has to be called by some name. So, calling the name also, in the Vedic culture, they want to take advantage of calling the name associated with Krishna or in connection with Krishna, so that by calling the child, they are actually automatically chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Just like it happened in case of Ajamila. So same principle is always followed. And to give a meaningful name, okay, we can simply call him Krishna or Narayana. Some name we can call, no. The name has to be corresponding to some qualities or characteristics of the child. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given the name Vishwambhara. Even Garga Muni, when he performed name-giving ceremony for Balaram, he gave 3 names. What are the 3 names he gave? Sankarshana, because he was forcibly attracted from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So he was given the name Sankarshana. Also given the name Rama, because he is very pleasing to all the members of his family. Most pleasing. And he was also given the name Baladeva, because he is transcendentally, spiritually the strongest, being the Supreme Lord. So Baladeva, Rama, and Sankarshana. 3 names were given. And that is after preparing the horoscope. Garga Muni prepared the horoscope and then gave the name. So it's not given simply, oh, we like to call this child Sankarshana. Let us call him Sankarshana. Or not that the astrologer feels that I like this name Sankarshana. Why don't you keep the name Sankarshana? No, not that way. It has got a basis, and that's what is being described here. I'll stop here. Vantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.